Despite life-saving measures, an inmate died in custody. It happened around 3 a.m. today. Corrections staff found a man attempting to take his own life. Officers immediately tried to revive the inmate. They said they were unsuccessful, however. Both an internal investigation and one by LMPD is underway. Director Jerry Collins said his goal at Corrections is to ensure the safety of every individual entrusted to their care, saying the jail will refocus and continue to promote wellness for inmates and their staff.
Criminal justice advocates are calling on Lackawanna County officials to end solitary confinement. They went before the prison board this afternoon. 2822 Eyewitness News reporter Julie Dunphy was there. She joins us live now in Scranton with the latest. Julie.
Mark, good evening. Solidarity, not solitary. That was the message from a group of local advocates that are pushing for reform after hearing about 20 accounts from inmates who were in solitary confinement in the Lackawanna County Prison.
We heard about the withholding of medication for serious physical and mental health issues, unsafe and inedible food, failure to provide access to programming or proper out-of-cell time, and periods of extended isolation.
The group NEPA Stands Up and Lackawanna County voters expressed their concerns to the Lackawanna County Prison Board Wednesday to give inmates placed in solitary confinement more hours outside of that cell, seeing the sky. 13,665 petition signatures were obtained over the summer to give voters a choice to end solitary confinement in the Lackawanna County Prison. However, that's not the term the Lackawanna County Prison warden would use to describe it.
We don't use that term. We haven't used that term in my career, my 30-year plus career at the jail.
What's the term you use?
We have a restrictive housing unit. We have things like administrative custody, protective custody, disciplinary custody.
According to Lackawanna County Prison Warden Tim Betty, there are 9 by 12 cells, large enough for 2 people with cells above and below.
Every cell has a gap about that big underneath the door that for airflow purposes, communication purposes.
The warden says the average length of stay in the restrictive housing unit is 14 days. The petition was turned into the county election board in August, and commissioners denied its addition to the November ballot, which is why they brought it to the prison board's attention and filed a lawsuit against the county commissioners today.
Essentially, we are asking the court to reverse the wrong that the Board of Elections did, and that is to put the solitary confinement referendum on the ballot so the voters of Lackawanna County can make the final decision.
After hearing concerns over solitary confinement in the county prison, County Controller Gary DeBilio said he would like a tour of the facility to be arranged.
I think that's a great step.
Our referendum was asking for, instead of 23 hours a day, that they be down to 20 hours a day.
The warden says that could be difficult with 22% of the current prison population in the restrictive housing unit. Now, Warden Betty says that he's trying to do the most effective job ensuring the safety of the inmates while giving them as much programming and rehabilitation as possible with the budget that he's given, which is set by the county commissioners, I might add. Now, Eyewitness News also has asked for a tour of the prison. Now, this is not guaranteed. We are told that cameras will not be allowed in, but we are still going to push through and follow through with that tour. Mark.
Julie, a story we will certainly follow at the prison. Thanks.
Glorious Rikers Island NYC lockup seeing all-time high number of drugs smuggled in by mail. Major problem. NYC's Rikers Island seeing influx of drugs smuggled in by mail, officials and sources say. Exclusive, one of the country's most notorious jails, New York City's Rikers Island is seeing an all-time high number of drugs being smuggled in through the mail, as corrections officials mull safer alternatives rather than risk potentially deadly exposure. New York City's Department of Corrections houses an average of 5,678 inmates throughout its 7 facilities. Its most sprawling complex and one of nation's largest municipal jail systems, Rikers Island, consists of 10 different units and has its share of controversial history. Most recently, the facility and the Department of Corrections as a whole have grappled with an influx of serious drugs, namely fentanyl, being smuggled and disguised as mail or in other ways. Video obtained exclusively by Fox News Digital shows stacks and boxes of books and pieces of paper that had allegedly been soaked with fentanyl or other diluted drugs and were intercepted by correction officers. a source familiar with the matter told Fox News Digital. In the video, correction officers are seen standing next to boxes of books that have been discovered that are laced in fentanyl, where entire books are laced in the drug, the source said. You see the officer thumbing through each page that is contaminated with the drug. And each page can be used for inmates to smoke or inhale or burn or use for contraband buying and selling, the source went on. There is boxes literally stacked upon each other with similar books as the one the officer is holding. Officers are seen in the video pointing to what they call discoloration in parts of the pages of books that were sent to the facility. And documents obtained exclusively by Fox News Digital offer a glimpse into some of the instances in which correction officers are encountering drug-laced mail. In one instance, from September 7th, an officer inside the mailroom at Rikers Eric M. Taylor Center was conducting a search of a package and discovered 4 books soaked in an unknown liquid substance, which later tested positive for fentanyl, according to a memo emailed to dock staff and obtained by Fox News Digital. Officers also encounter similar contraband in the form of just one or a few sheets of paper, documents show. In a different instance at the Taylor Center, officers in the mailroom were inspecting a package on September 14th when they found one letter soaked in an unknown liquid substance. The letter later tested positive for fentanyl, according to the document obtained by Fox News Digital. The dock system consists of 7 facilities across 4 of the 5 boroughs, in addition to its massive Rikers Island complex, which is in East Elmhurst, New York. During a New York City Board of Correction meeting on September 13th, officials addressed the issue, calling their efforts to thwart the proliferation of drugs entering their facilities a priority for us. Speaking about the ways in which drugs are playing a role in inmate deaths in dock custody, Paul Schechman, Deputy Commissioner of Legal Matters and General Counsel for the Department of Corrections, said the issue was of enormous importance to us. You see a lot of fentanyl entering either through the mail or through packages, he admitted. He added that the agency is exploring the ability to scan mail and send it to inmates via tablets. As of a Tuesday, dock personnel had recovered more than 4,000 weapons and over 700 drug-related contraband during tactical searches inside facilities, Fox News has learned. Meanwhile, 15 inmates have died while in dock custody since the beginning of 2022 as of a Wednesday. An inmate most recently died on a Tuesday, the agency said. Inmate deaths are often, though not always, linked to narcotics use. The NYC dock did not respond to Fox News Digital's multiple requests or an on-the-record statement.
For 5 months, Donald Varela Fernandez told medical staff at the Imperial County Detention Center that he suffered from severe pain in his hips, back, shoulder, and joints. He says the pain got so bad that he needed a cane to help him walk.
I was in pain. It was agonizing to do anything and everything you normally need to do on a daily basis.
Instead of giving him treatment, Fernandez says that the medical staff at the detention center dismissed his complaints.
If you request medical help, all they do is just take you to the medical section, take your blood pressure, check your weight, and give you Tylenol and send you back to the dorm.
When Fernandez was finally taken to the hospital in El Centro, doctors told him he needed emergency spinal cord surgery. After the surgery, he says staff at the detention center took away instructions doctors had given him to follow as part of his recovery.
They took everything away and they sent me to a medical section to solitary 2 days there, and then they sent me to what they call Alpha to solitary again for another 9 days.
Fernandez is one of several men in the detention center who filed a federal complaint last week against Immigration and Customs Enforcement, or ICE, and MTC, the private company that operates the detention center. PJ Podesta is with the Innovation Law Lab, one of several organizations who filed the complaint.
We would like the oversight agencies to do a really thorough investigation to not let the private contractors, not let ICE evade scrutiny.
Podesta says that what happened to Fernandez is not an isolated incident. He has heard similar stories from migrants in detention centers throughout California.
We see that it happens again and again and again, that folks are locked up in solitary or written up falsely. And even if we just take that set of folks, we see a clear pattern.
Migrants who speak out often face retaliation. Podesta says people like Fernandez are brave for telling their stories publicly.
What I find really inspiring and important is that people see the abuse, talk about the abuse, still speak out. They face retaliation for speaking out and still continue to speak out, still band together and speak out about it.
Fernandez says he decided to share his story to help other migrants in similar situations.
If no one talks about it, no one really knows what's going on.
ICE did not respond to questions about the complaint. MTC issued a statement saying the company is committed to following best practices. Gustavo Solis, KPBS News.